Explore opportunity.
Welcome to the latest GOLDINVEST-Interview. Today we're talking to Gary Thompson, CEO of Silber47 Exploration. This is the ticker AGA. And Galen McNamara, CEO of Summa Silver. Ticker is SSVR in any case. So that's two exciting silver companies today with known resources about to merge. So we want to hear more about that deal and company's plans for the future. Welcome, Gary. Welcome, Galen.
Thanks, Jorn.
Thank you.
Good to have us on. Thank you.
Good to have you. So I'll start with you, Gary, perhaps. You will be the executive chairman of the new Silber47, I think. I would ask you to tell us, how did this deal come about? What's the rationale behind the combination of Silber47 and Sommer?
Yeah, I mean, we were, I guess, independently both kind of looking to, to get bigger. And, we're both geologists. So, we started talking earlier in the year, and we had it was pretty quickly that we saw a shared vision here, to get bigger faster. And as you may know, there's really two ways to grow in this business. And one is by the drill bit, and the other is through M&A. While we can get there drilling, it just takes longer. And we thought this is a good way to leapfrog that process. It takes us from what we had 168 million silver equivalent ounces in Alaska in an inferred resource, and on a combined pro forma basis will be like 246 million silver equivalent in the US. So we're really see this opportunity as building a new, strong, premier silver focused company in the US. So we're going to have three really strong, high grade silver assets that we're super excited to advance on all of those. And so that the thinking is that we can, drill in the summer in Alaska, and then shift gears into the lower 48 and basically drill all fall and winter. So it's going to be a good balance between the two. So yeah, we're real excited to get this thing going.
Okay, thank you. Again, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I know. I think that really covered it. Both independently looking for ways that we can grow, and two ways to do that for us is through the drill bit and through M&A. And I think both of our companies apart would have been very successful through drilling for sure. This just made sense from an M&A perspective for the reasons that Gary mentioned.
Okay, so we get into that a bit later on, what exactly the plans are for this year. Getting back to the deal, I think part of the deal was that Summa was supposed to raise $5 million. I think just out today was the news that you extended it to, I think, 6. So I guess demand has been strong there.
That's absolutely correct. There was very strong demand. There's a very good reason for us to be raising money now. It's because we want to expand drilling in Alaska. Silber47 Summa pro forma was very well financed, but we saw a really good window this summer in Alaska to step out and hopefully materially add tonnage and ounces to that resource. It's a very strong looking resources and lots of room to grow. So I think we both just thought, hey, now's the time for us to accelerate this a little bit, and started off at 5 million, and like you said, due to strong demand, upsized to 6. Nothing too crazy on the upsize, but we're well through the 6 and into the brokers over allotment of 15%. So we plan to close on 6.9.
Okay, that sounds good. 6.9. I think there was 9-10 millions in the old Silber47 or whatever cash you had in the Summer Silver before. Let's call it, as you said, well financed. Then let's get a bit into the details. You already said, Gary, you're planning to go on project and drill the summer in Alaska. I don't know how long the summer really is, or when it starts and when it really ends. It looks like it hasn't started yet from your outfit, but can you give us an idea when you will start, what you're aiming for, and how long you will have to accomplish that, Gary?
We've already started. We've got crews on site at Red Mountain as we speak. We're just, I think we're gearing up for the drills. Hasn't quite started yet, but I think any day now we'll have the drills turning to the right. And as Galen mentioned, we're quite confident that we can grow this resource. So if you look at the Red Mountain resource, the 168 million silver equivalent ounces, it's based on 2 zones, the West Tundra Flats and Dry Creek. And so we plan to expand. Both of those zones are wide open. So we want to expand on those resources as much as we can this year. So we're taking some big step outs. We're filling in some holes. Some of the previous drilling had some quite wide spacing in it. And obviously our focus is going to be to daylight the precious metal enrichment that we see in this VMS, and we think there's lots of room to grow that. The objective of this program is ultimately, I mean, we have lots of targets, so we might take a few shots on some new discoveries, but we really want to get to the end of this season, get to a new restated resource, and whether it's at the end of this year or early next year. That's the goal, is to come up with a new resource. And, we're hopeful and optimistic that it's, going to start with a 2. We think if we can get to those numbers, right now the resource is 15.6 million tons. And if you look at what it takes, for a 2,500 ton a day operation, that's like 18 million tons. So if we can get to that 18 to 20 million tons, we think we have enough material. We've got good grade. We're already 336 on the grade silver equivalent. We think there's room to improve on that, not necessarily need to, but one of the things that we're interested in is the antimony and gallium of significant content in the resource. Now, it wasn't categorized in the resource because they never really looked at it. And of course, we don't have any metallurgical work. So we want to do some additional met work for the precious and base metals, but we certainly want to do some specifically for the antimony and gallium. And we think those will add some value that's not currently categorized. So we think there's room to grow this thing closer to 400 gram silver EQ. That's the sort of target.
That's the plan for the summer, so to speak. And then have you already decided if you're going back to Nevada once you finished up in Alaska, or New Mexico, I think it is, or both? What's the plan there? Again.
You know what? It'll be both eventually. Right now, we're just prioritizing Alaska and really focusing on this summer while we work in the background, compiling data for the projects in the lower 48, which on a combined basis host well over 70 million silver equivalent ounces, and lots of room to run there. Lots of room on both of those projects to continue to expand materially and step out. But that's something that we're going to look at over the not too distant future after this summer in Alaska.
Okay, great to hear. That's what you're planning with the projects you have. You alluded to it already. Perhaps you have success on the drill front. You're growing there, but it might be a good way now that the company is bigger already to snap up a project or two. Are you already thinking about it? Are you always looking at stuff to grow further through M&A, or is that just on the back burner?
No, I mean, it's again, we have this shared vision to get bigger faster. So as we grow here, we are looking for other M&A opportunities. Of course, as you get bigger, you want bigger assets, more advanced staged assets. So we're trying to look up the food chain and, get the next transaction is hopefully going to be a material that we can again grow materially through M&A. So we are looking. We have been looking. We're always looking for opportunities. And if the right one comes along with the right fit, the right counterparty, absolutely, we'll continue to grow through M&A, and then basically drill as aggressively as as the capital will allow.
Okay, interesting. So, but you want to grow, you want to get that quick. I don't think you want to bring anything into production yourselves, right? It's making things big and attractive enough for somebody to step in, or what's the final goal there?
I think personally from our perspective is that you always build the company that's fit for purpose for what you're doing while thinking about the next step. You're always really pushing towards that next step and focusing on what you need to do that. If and when an opportunity presents itself that may be in the best interest for the shareholders, that's when you really consider taking it.
Okay, so you don't rule it out, but you haven't any actual plans yet. Okay, I understand. We'll see how it goes. A couple of thoughts on the silver price. It's been up, I think, over the last 12 months, 12 or 13%. It's been up 100% over the last, roughly, over the last 5 years. What are your thoughts for the future? I mean, at right now, the environment isn't benefiting a lot of small exploration companies, or at least select companies, not lifting all the boats as it used to be in the past, perhaps. But if the silver price keeps going, if the metals keep going, I think that could change, right?
Well, absolutely. And just to add a couple points to that is that what's the gold to silver ratio right now is what, around 100? I mean, when we see real bull markets, the last couple times it's dropped down to 30. So we have a long way to run. Silver has a lot of catch up to do, number one. And then number two, the earliest part of this year, let's say the first half, the story has really been about, a lot of the gold story has been about Chinese investors accumulating gold, at all levels, from individuals to institutions to banks, et cetera. And I think it's been encouraged, from the highest levels. The information I'm seeing now is that that's starting to happen to silver as well. So, if that narrative progresses, that's just it's more fuel to the fire for silver.
Okay. Thank you very much. Great talking to you. And I'll be sure we'll talk again once all this progresses. And let's hope the plans, or your plans, all come to fruition. And let's certainly keep our fingers crossed the markets are going to go with that too. So thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you, Gary, for coming from the camp directly. And I'll be sure to check in soon to see how it's going. Thank you.